in the beginning, we got together, we had some songs that I wanted to record, and we were never intending to be a band or to play live. It's just something that kind of happened. We didn't have a name. We were looking for a name that was controversial without really being controversial. So that's to say, if you know what the name means, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Wasp started out being a recording band. The show was something that just kind of developed later.
Heard that the rock group has for the first album 5 years to write on it, and for the second album 5 months. How was that with Wasp?
Well, it depends on the artist. I mean, I wrote our first album in about a year, and it takes me about a year to write a record. It's not something that you do overnight. I can't do it in a month, but it's something that you get ideas as you become inspired over a period of time. Throughout a year, you come up with different ideas and things like that. So for me, I write differently than most people do. I do it as I get inspiration. I don't do it during any set period of time. So it's not the difference between the first one and the second one and the third one. There's really no difference to me.
Where was the second?
Well, it's a different album than the first one. I mean, it's a lot more high tech, a lot more advanced. A lot of people, I don't think, understood that record. Inside the Electric Circus is more akin to the first album in the sense that it's raw and very unorthodox as far as the way the actual tunes sound, even though it's a state-of-the-art record because it was done digital. It's got energy that's similar to the first album. So as far as The Last Command, I like The Last Command as a record. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. You know, I think it was good. We sold as many records as we did on the first album. We just sold them to different people, and I don't know if that hurt us or helped us at the end of the day. It's still a little too early to make that decision right now.
After the second album, you made a few videos, like Wild Child and Blind in Texas. How was that?
Well, on the first album, we do 2 videos per every album. On the first album, we did I Want to Be Somebody and Love Machine. Last one was Wild Child and Blind in Texas. As the band matures and things like that, you start seeing shifts and trends of both musical and visual. And it is something that is inevitable with every band. You have to do what you think is comfortable, or what you feel comfortable with at the time. I hope the audience feels that way as well. If you are doing something that you're comfortable with, more than likely you will like it at the time. So, to answer your question, yeah, you know, we've enjoyed most of the videos that we've done.
Why did Randy leave? Were you met in Texas?
It's very hard for me to say. That's a painful subject to talk about. I can't really explain it. I don't have any answers that I can give you. It's just one of those things that just happens one day, you know. People just, he didn't feel right, the band didn't feel right. It was time for him to go his own way.
You switched over on a 6-string music instrument, and Johnny Rod was a new former in the band. Where did you get Johnny Rod from?
Johnny was the bassist in King Cobra, and King Cobra supported us the last 2 weeks of our American tour last year, and we had our eye on him, and we thought he'd be a suitable replacement. So far, everything's worked out great. Bullshit. You asked me what my response was. That's my response. I really don't have anything more to say about that. I mean, there's been too much said about that already.
Why is your show changed? In Facing of the Old Show, No More Blood, Raw Meat and Naked Ladies on stage. How is the show now looks like?
Again, and there's a maturing process that goes on within bands. We did that for a year, but every year the show changes. And that's not to say that it's not always going to be outrageous. Wasp will always be outrageous. It'll just be a different kind of outrageous every year. I mean, I used to have a codpiece with a saw blade on it. You know, I mean, tonight I'm going to go out there. I got flames shooting 18 feet out of the end of my balls. So, I mean, which should say something about social comment, too, in the world, when people will pay good money to see a man in love with the idea of breathing fire from his crotch. You know, so I think that's something to be said about audiences, not just the artist. The artists mirror or reflect what's going on with the audience's taste.
You are a hard working musician, like yourself.
A musician as well.
Musician. Do you find funny time personal hobbies once the tour has ended?
Yeah, I have one sitting right here with me right now. It's very hard. It's about, the only thing I really have at this point is my cars and things like that. I've got 3 Jaguars and a 37 Chevy. Excuse me, a 37 Ford. How dare I make that mistake? And that occupies quite a bit of my time, but you have to understand, between producing the records and trying to run this madhouse that we call Wasp, it's a full-time job. There's really not a lot of time for anything else.
Now about your new album, do you have any favorite on it?
My favorite track on it is a song called Restless Gypsy, and it's pretty much a self-expression song about, well, it says, I'm one restless gypsy, all I need is to ride the breeze, and to catch the wind where my heart's in and I'm riding in the breeze. And that's pretty much the way I feel. No moss grows under my feet.
This is the first time you're in Holland, I think. You play in Holland.
It's the first time we've played Holland, yeah. I was here last year doing some promo. I did some radio stuff here last year, October. But it's the first time Wasp has played here.